Hey everybody, welcome back to the Miracle Perspective, and this is the TMP Q&A Wednesday. You ask, I perspectivize. Guys, thank you for getting back to the show. Guys, the love you're showing me is really amazing, and I appreciate that. This is one of those things that I wake up in the morning and say, I am grateful for. So I'm grateful for you guys appreciating me, showing me the love that you're showing me, sharing my channel, subscribing, and always getting back to watch more of the videos. I appreciate that. And by the way, how are you guys feeling? How are you today? Please put your comment in the comment section. Tell me, how are you feeling? How are you? Just want to know how you are. It's very important to ask this, and it's something that most of us don't really pay attention to. It's very important to ask how somebody's doing. And that's why I'm asking you, because as for me, I'm grateful. Thank you for coming back. As you're still typing how you're feeling and how you are, I appreciate that. And I really do read your comments, and I do comment back. Most of you will say yes. You'll attest to the fact that I do comment back. So I'm genuinely asking, how are you? So tell me that. While you're still telling me that, we have two interesting questions from two interesting people that I decided, let me just combine these two questions because I think they are very related. And let me read the questions and I'll tell you why I think they're very related. You will also feel like they're related. The first question is from Annie. Annie standing for Anonymous, because she preferred her name not to be disclosed, and that's okay. She's like, hey TMP, I hope you're well. I have a small anyana question for you. Is there something wrong with a young person who does not or not interested in using social media like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the likes? Please do answer my question because it's very important to me. What is your perspective in that kind of a human being? Then I ask, is it all social media or only WhatsApp? Is it all social media including WhatsApp and YouTube, or just the ones you mentioned? She's like, just the ones I mentioned. For now, let's exclude WhatsApp and YouTube. I'm like, cool. We'll sort your question out in the upcoming video. Now let's go to the next question from Mthunzi. Mthunzi is happy with me disclosing his name. Mthunzi is like, bruh, is it healthy to not have friends? Simple and straightforward like that. And then I asked a follow-up question. I said, it depends on why you don't have friends. Why don't you have friends? Then he said this.
Okay, and then look why and well wangani now but then I know you go there are those friends who go our straight there, they always wanna have problems. So yeah. So listen bulaka show me. Well yeah wangani now mara the thing go monago are out. Aramngano me ala nomlanzelela. It's something is out news code kushi that's why is it healthy? Kukana ngawi na wangani na ndakota kuva van'wana va khipa vutomi bya mina tshama ni ro if it's possible.
Interesting question. So let me quickly translate. Let me try and make it simple. Oh, we have light. Wonderful. Wonderful light. Like this. Well, Mthunzi is like, I understand you're asking me why. Well, the thing is, there are those friends who are really not good friends. They are bad influence, so to speak. And you have those friends that constantly want you to be after them. They want you to be just the one running after them, and they don't care about you. And for me, that kind of a thing is not, I'd rather cut them off. That's why I'm asking, is it wrong to not have friends? That's what Mthunzi is asking. So, interesting questions indeed. Simple and straightforward answers. And like, let me not make it straightforward. Let me give it in a form of a story with my own life. There was a time where growing up I was very naughty with a group of naughty friends. We were all just a naughty pack. And we were part of the worship team at church, right? As this group of gents. It was a worship team of gents, a boys' choir kind of thing. And we were the thing at the time, man. I mean, we were the boys' two men of the days. And everybody loved us. So we got very naughty. We were up to no good almost all the time. And I remember this one time, two of our friends were guilty of something and they were found in the scene. Then the church leadership called us into a meeting, all of us, the boys. And we got to the meeting, they were busy interrogating us. Well, it was a disciplinary meeting. And then now it got so heated up. These guys now, they realize we cannot burn all by ourselves. It's better we just burn the rest of us. Just talk about all our issues. And then I heard that now the environment is not getting very good here. I mean, two of my parents, my mother and my dad, being the pastors of the church, are here and they're going to hear my problems. And I'm going to go home with them. Nix. Let me do something real quick. And I thought very fast, man. I thought on the spot. I don't know how I even thought about that. And I realized, let me rescue myself by doing this. I raised my hand. I'm like, I would like to say something before as we are still busy discussing this issue. I think it's very important for us to admit, and I admit for one, and I think all of us do admit that we are wrong. We have all done wrong things. We were all naughty one way or the other. And all we want to say is we ask for forgiveness. We will not do it again. We admit that we were wrong. It's not only these two guys, it's all of us. We have done a lot of things, and if we were to expose each other, it's not gonna be conducive. It's better we just admit. And one of the elders were like, wow. When you admit your mistakes, it's good, and we cannot crucify you no more. And then we got off the leash, right? The point is, after that, I went home and I realized here, it's going to be a problem. This whole pack thing, it's going to get me into a lot of trouble. I'd rather ride solo. And from that time, I think I was in high school. From that meeting, I decided at an instant that I am not going to be part of a pack anymore. And from then till today, I don't have groupies. I'm not a groupie person. I'd rather have one friend, two friends, but I'm not that kind of a person who will say, hey man, what's happening this Friday? Let's go out. And I don't plan. That's why most of the things I do, man, it's me thinking, talking to myself, and I do it. External influence is very minimal on my side. Well, there's a good and a bad to that. The reason I'm telling you this story is because I'm getting to a point where I want to answer the issue of Mthunzi, who asks, is it good to not have friends? And the question of Anonymous, who's like, is it wrong to not have the other social media platforms, right? The way I will answer that question is the same way I've been answering maybe the recent kind of questions that I've been having, which is number one, why? Look, your identity is found within your why. Your why is what informs us of who you are. Your why is what ultimately makes who you are. If you're doing things without a solid why that makes sense to you, you are riding a pool of the lack of identity. Let me make it simple in this way. I once said every action is judged by the intention from which it proceeds. You choosing to not have friends will be judged by the intention from which it proceeds. Why don't you want to have friends? You were very clear, Mthunzi, that it's because your friends are bad influence. You are not willing to follow them around, right? It's a good place to come from, and that's a good reason enough. Then it's okay to not have friends. Considering that reason, you, Anonymous, not having the other social media platforms, it depends on why don't you have them. And all the other people who have it, it depends on why do they have it. It's very dangerous if you're doing it because of the pack. Everybody's doing it. Everybody's doing it. Everybody's doing it. Wrong approach. You don't want to do that. You don't want to have that. You want to do things because you understand they make sense. They are in line with something that you are hoping to achieve in life. So your why will ultimately determine your who. Who are you is found within your why. That's the first answer I'm going to give you. Secondly is, you will never find your true identity within a crowd. True identity is never found within a crowd. If you check all the big leaders, all the big people that we know of today, the big names that we know of, the likes of, first name that comes to my head is your likes of Jesus. He had to separate from the pack to be alone in the desert to find who he is, right? Same thing. It's out of isolation where you will find your who are you. Who are you is determined by you questioning yourself. Why am I living? Getting deep, something very simple became so deep. But the point is, for as long as you are within a pack that you are not in line with in terms of values and beliefs and vision, just as in the case of Mthunzi, you are losing your self-identity. So stay away. If they're not in line with who you want to be or who you are becoming, shut them out. And this phone call wants to disturb me. Okay. So yes, shut them out. Thirdly, it's very important to be socially involved. On the contrary, TMP, what are you saying? You just said we should shut them out. Are you saying we should bring them back in again? No. We have to learn how to learn. It's a very important thing. Okay, let me not take it far. Back here. It's very important to be socially involved because your social well-being, it's one of the most important areas that we need to develop in order to have a balanced life. You cannot live without the social involvement. But in this sense, social media is very dangerous if you don't know who you are, because you will never get your identity through social media. Bad friends, very dangerous if you do not know who you are, because you will never get your self-identity in a pack of bad influence. But good friends and good use of social media is 100% great to put you back in line to what your beliefs and values are. It's very important to be aligned with a group of people that are in line with what you believe in, your interests, your values, and all that. For example, I realized I'm an aspiring speaker, man. I want to be a professional speaker. But the type of circle that I had at the moment, was not giving me that, to a point where I felt like, man, I reached a ceiling. I'm not growing anymore. Yes, I'm doing these YouTube videos. I'm doing it good. People are receiving me well, and everybody's saying you are good, but it ended up being a barrier to my next level. I reached a ceiling, and I realized, perhaps I'm misaligned in terms of association. I wasn't associated with the right group, the right environment. And then I searched for a good environment where I will find people that are in line with what I'm in line with. And I went to Toastmasters. And that's where I found a new circle that is in line with my aspirations and what I want to achieve in life. Get what I mean? So it's very important to be socially involved with a pack that's in line with what you're doing. Another example of social media. Look, I am doing YouTube videos. For me to stay on YouTube is important. Somebody might be on YouTube watching porn. Porn is not helping you in any way. As a matter of fact, it's killing you, right? Then it's not good for you. It's better to shut it out. Then you don't need YouTube because it's bad influence. Porn is just an example. There's a myriad of things that we can use to prove what I'm trying to say to you. Instagram is a good place for me to market my videos, right? Get out there in the world and share my vision and goals and gifts. It's good, conducive for me. Somebody uses Instagram to get depression. In what sense? Looking at other people's lives that are artificial lives, and they think that is the life, and they're not feeling and experiencing that life. Then they feel like their life is not a life. Then they try and get depressed. Then it's not good. It's not conducive for you. Shut it out. Same thing with Facebook. Other people are there watching naked women all day, every day, and it's not conducive to your growth and development. You even fail at school. All the other important aspects of your life are now failing. They're now suffering because of this one thing that you're doing, which is messing up your other things of life. Then you shut it out because it's not conducive to who you're becoming, right? Then you cut them off. So, one question, two different answers. Can be good, can be bad. It depends on where you're coming from, right? It depends on your big why. So, whenever you do things, you must always remember, am I doing it for my friends, outside influence, or am I doing it for me, inside influence? Outside influence, inside influence. So that's the most important thing that you need to do. Lastly, every action is judged by the intention from which it proceeds. By the way, before I close, there's this boy of mine. I'm not going to disclose his name. He might be embarrassed. He's like, I want to ask you a question on TMP Q&A Wednesday. But the thing is, you prepare for those questions. I don't want that. Me, I want the time where you're doing live questions, and then I will hit you with a question and you'll be stuck. You won't be able to say anything. And then I just laughed. I'm like, this is what I'm going to get him. Then I'm getting him now. The point is not to prove anything through this question and answer. I take these questions as genuine questions. And for me to honor the genuity of the question, I have to prepare for the answers so that I can give you well thought out answers. Because I don't want to mislead you, right? I understand that you value this session. I also value your time and you trusting me to give you a perspective. So it would be unfair and irresponsible for me to just come here and blurb out things without carefully thinking about them. So yes, boy, I'm answering you now. I prepare for these questions because it's important that you get the real deal stuff, not just blurb talk. Don't want to do that. It's not a talk shop. It's important. This is personal development. The Miracle Perspective is all about helping you discover who you are. And I do that with a very sincere and genuine heart. This is authentic from me. That's why I have to take questions seriously. So without any waste of time, guys, thank you so much. I hope those questions were well answered. If it's not satisfying, I welcome follow-up questions and I welcome more comments, because it helps us learn and grow together. I welcome more questions. I welcome more comments. Remember to share. Remember to like. Remember to subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, I don't know what the problem is. What's the problem, Val? Subscribe. Subscribe. It's finished.